want to know which planet was causing your suffering? How about Earth?
Hello everyone, Brandflix here with another Shadowverse 2 video. I am losing my voice, kind of, after recording all of these videos, but only 2 left, so let's press on. For this video, we'll be covering the new Haven craft cards for set 3, Heirs to the Omens. Hopefully, again, I haven't checked that name yet. I think, out of all, Haven was also one of the only crafts that got like a full support list. And we'll see through this review if that support list is good enough, which, spoilers, maybe not. I think Crest Haven is gonna be one of those decks that we have to see before we really sign off on. But getting into it, the first card we're gonna cover is going to be a 2-mana 0/4 Devotee of Repose. Fanfare, gain Crest, Devotee of Repose. The Crest is gonna be countdown 4. And at the end of your turn, if your ally follower is in attack, you give a random allied follower on your field -2, -0, and ward. This card blows. I know that the gimmick is Crest, but you nerf your own minions. You have to play this later because the entire upside for having Crest spam is that you have a card that gives you a Crest that gives you an upside, but you're actively nerfing your own minions for fun. So you can't even trade, you can't even do anything, and you don't even get health buffs. So I think this card is an easy 1 out of 5 in both Constructed and in Take 2. I don't think you ever want to click this card, ever. Like, it's just absolute poopy water. Because it's not even an Evo, like, you get this no matter what. So, like, you actively might screw your own minions for playing this card later on in the game. That's kind of ridiculous to me. And also, just to go back, the ward is even coming with this card, so you can't even use Wilbert Crest on it. So it's just like, it gets worse and worse the more you look at it. This might be a 0 out of 5 card. Kind of funny. The next card is going to be another 2-mana card. 2-mana 2/2, comes with ward. Whenever this follower is given plus attack or defense on the field, restore 1 HP to your leader. This card is just a better version of the other card. No Crest, obviously, which is quote-unquote worse for Crest Ward or Crest Haven. But this card does synergize directly with Wilbert or with the better version or the actively playable version of Haven right now, which is Ward Haven. This card, if you pull it out with Aether, will heal you immediately. If you play that 1-mana spell that gives your minions defense, it will heal you as well. If you just play it raw after playing Wilbert, you also heal. So Ward Haven, ironically, has an issue with healing because not many cards it can play allows you to heal. So having even small amounts of healing from Knight of the Holy Order, like you play Aether twice, that's plus 2 HP from Wilbert Crest. So if you Evo it, you get more HP from Wilbert Crest. So like and you have Dark Haven it, like you're playing a greedy version of Ward Haven that comes with Dark Haven, you'll heal 2 from Dark Haven. So this card is probably like a 4 out of 5 for me. It's barely on that line of being playable in a meta deck, which is Ward Haven. And then in Take 2, I would say in Take 2, if you have the support for Haven, which is possible because of the rerolls, it's actually a 4.5 because it gives so much healing. But without that support, it's more like it's like a 3.5 because it's like generic 2-drop. But because you have so many rerolls with Haven, odds are you will find that Wilbert, so this card probably will be airing on the 4.5 aspect more than you think it would. And actually, yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, with Aether, this is actually heal 2, because when you pull it out with Aether, you get the +1 from the Crest, and then you Super Evo Aether, and you get another healing. So this is even better with Aether, because it's actually a heal 2 on the Aether turn, assuming you have the Wilbert Crest. So yeah, really good card for Ward Haven. The next card is going to be a 3-mana 1/4 Supplicant of Repose. Fanfare, gain the Crest, Supplicant of Repose. It comes with ward, so again, playable with Ward Haven. And then at the end of your turn, if your ally follower is in attack this turn, restore 1 health to your leader. So this card is a lot better than the other 0/4 drop because it actually comes with attack and it doesn't actively nerf your followers. I think, in my opinion, this is probably like a 3.5 out of 5 because it's obviously meant to be played with Crest Haven. So if it's playable with Crest Haven, it's a 4.0 out of 5. But if it doesn't make it, if Crest Haven by itself isn't great, this card is never going to see play in Ward Haven by itself because you do still want to trade with Ward Haven. You do still want to attack with Ward Haven, and honestly, like 1 health, it's just there for the aesthetics at that point, right? So, is it better than Holy Shield Maiden? No. Is it better than Grimnir? No. So you don't even want to play it with Ward Haven. So this card has to rely on Crest Haven being good, and the text on the card isn't good enough for me to think this will make Crest Haven good. So that's why it's 2.5 out of 5. And then in Take 2, we're just gonna say it's like a 2.5, or it's like a 2 out of 5 because it doesn't do anything. You'd rather draft Holy Shield Maiden. You'd rather draft any other 3-drop that actually does something than this card, which might heal you one when it's played, but like, who cares? The next card is going to be a 3-mana amulet. It's going to be Temple of Repose. Countdown 4. When it breaks, you heal 2, and you give your leader barrier. And then when you engage it, you advance the card's count by X, and X is the number of Crest you have. So this is more of an anti-Roach, anti-Cositis card, which isn't even that good because the Super Evo Ping will break the barrier. So it's ironically like, it's good if Super Evo Ping didn't exist, but otherwise it actually might still be okay, even despite the Super Evo Ping, because there are, like, sometimes when the game goes long, they don't have the Super Evo Ping anymore. Sometimes when the game goes long, you can drop all of your minions, and so therefore, they can't Super Evo Ping you. The main issue is just the fact that, like, there are ways to get around this card very, very easily. So this is more like a 3-mana heal 2, maybe heal 3 at best. So it could be useful, but I don't know if it's going to really be played that often. So I think in Constructed, it's like a 3.5 out of 5. Which is just like, based on the meta, is where the line draws. So if the meta is all about fat swings, it's going to be a 4, because it's going to be playable and be anti-meta. But if the meta is based around like small hits over and over again, it's going to be more like a 3, because you don't want to play that often, because the meta is actively countering it. And then in Take 2, I would probably say if Haven has a lot of draw, it's like a 4.0 out of 5, because it can ruin a lot of lethals in Take 2, and then you slam a John and you stabilize. But without all that healing, without that card draw, if Haven doesn't have that card draw, I would say it's a 3 out of 5 because you don't really care. Again, like, small hits happen all the time, so it's like not that great in that scenario. The next card is going to be another amulet. It's going to be Winged Lion Statue for 3 mana. Countdown 3, when it breaks, you summon a Holy Falcon and a Holy Flame Tiger. When you engage it, you advance it by 1. Holy Falcon is going to be the 2/2 Stormbird, and Holy Flame Tiger is going to be the 4/4 Rush minion. So I think this card in Take 2 is a 5 out of 5, but in Constructed, I'm not too certain. I think in Constructed, it might be like a 3.5 out of 5, because I think the minions it summons are good, but I feel like, to me, because odds are it's going to be more like a 5-mana summon Holy Falcon, Holy Flame Tiger, because you're going to be playing on 3, and then it's going to be 4 mana. So you're going to play it on 3, and then the next turn, you're going to click on it to summon 2 minions. So turn 4, you spent 4 mana to summon a 2/2 and a 4/4 that can immediately act, which is pretty good. I think it might be a 4 out of 5, because it is immediately playable. The only issue is that, like, it doesn't come with, like, it's a question of will Stormhaven play it, not if will Wardhaven play it. I think Stormhaven might play it because it's really strong tempo. So for Stormhaven alone, it's a 4 out of 5. Take 2, really good stats, really strong tempo, so that's why it's 5 out of 5. And it's also silver rarity, so you might get a lot of these. The next card is going to be a 4-mana legendary, 4-mana 4/4, Marwynn, Despair Manifest. Fanfare, add a Torrent of Despair to your hand, and when you evolve it, you gain the Crest. Marwynn, Despair Manifest. The Crest is at the end of your turn. If your ally followers an attack, you deal X damage split between all enemies, and X is the number of Crest you have. So this goes from anywhere between 1 damage to 5 damage, depending on Crests. Torrent of Despair is going to be a 2-mana banish a random enemy follower, and then you delay the count of your crest by 1. So if your crests have a countdown, you are buffing it up by 1. So like those time crests that you want to leave up, you just keep them up a bit longer so that you can have more value from Marwynn's crest. So Marwynn is the reason why we have so many funny crests in the background. The issue to me is that you don't really need those funny crests, because just naturally, you're going to have Marwynn, you're going to have Grimnir, you're going to be playing Marwynn, you're going to be playing Grimnir, you're probably going to be playing, I assume you're playing Wilbur, so it's already 3 crests. So I feel like, to me, the upside of this is that it lingers for longer. So I think, so to me, Torrent of Despair is a banish enemy follower. So I feel like Marwynn is, since he is the enabler of Crest Haven, I think he's a 4.5 out of 5. But he's not 5 out of 5 because he's not that great of an enabler. And I'm not convinced that you want to play him in generic Wardhaven. Because the thing is with Wardhaven is that when you evolve Wilbert, you need to evolve Wilbert, right? So you need to evolve Marwynn, you need to evolve Wilbert, and you also want to evolve Salefa to survive. So you have too many generic evolve targets already for Marwynn to slot into the generic Wardhaven deck. So he's not even good in Wardhaven. So he's probably more like a 4 out of 5. So you're already like too bogged down by evolve targets. You need super evolves for Aether because you want to super evolve Aether, and you also want to use super. So like if you perfect curve, you have enough evolves for everybody, sure. But the issue is that when you evolve a Wardhaven target, you will always swing. So Marwynn doesn't even give you that evolve effect. And the other issue is that when you evolve Marwynn himself, you probably want to swing because dealing 6 damage to clear something is probably better than just AFK and letting the 4 damage go. Because the odds that you only have 1 minion to clear is really low. So Marwynn isn't really that efficient. Like if there's like a bunch of 1/1 minions on board, Marwynn, like he doesn't have to swing, he just kills them all, sure. But like if you're against Zirconia, for example, are you really gonna not swing with Zirconia and let those 2/2s live, or swing with Marwynn to not kill Zirconia? Let's say that Marwynn kills Zirconia, but then there's 2/2s on board. Like, do you really want that against Sword? Like, he's just, the effect is really weak because you might not even get the clear on Zirconia, like, right? Like that, if you evolve Marwynn, you only have 1 crest, maybe 2 crests if you play that 3 mana drop. But then if you swing with Marwynn, you get no value of the crests. So it's just like really, he's probably like a 4 out of 5. And then in Take 2, ironically, it's a little better because he lets you Evo aggressively. And then if you have like 1 or 2 crests, like even with just Marwynn, like it's still a 1 damage ping, essentially for free. And since in Take 2, you Evo so much more aggressively to get tempo and all that, the punishment for not having a good game plan after all that is a lot more mitigated in Take 2 than it is in actual Constructed. So I think in Take 2, he is like a 4.5 out of 5 because he is more interesting. But in Constructed, he's not nearly strong enough for Crest Haven to be like a dominant force. So he's more like a 4 out of 5 because he doesn't make Crest Haven super strong, but he is necessary for Crest Haven to function. The next card we're going to talk about is going to be a 4 mana spell called Blinding Faith. When you play it as is, you deal 3 damage to all enemy followers. But if you play it as an 8 mana spell, you also draw 3 cards and you restore 3 HP to your enemy or to yourself. So 3 damage, deal 3, or 8 mana, deal 3, draw 3 is probably like a 4.5 out of 5 in Take 2 because your opponents might be having a lot more of those shoddier quality minions at this point. So you can actually deal 3 and also draw 3 cards safely. But in Constructed, I don't think this is good. I think this is like a 3.5 at best in Constructed because a lot more Constructed decks have more than 3 health on their minions. So if you play this, you don't even wipe the entire board. Especially at 8 mana, you give your opponents like a 4 to 9 attack minion that lives and then just goes straight for your face. And that completely negates the fact that you healed 3. Of course, the idea behind this card is that you play this with Marwynn's Crest so that you deal all the damage and you have like 3 or 4 crests left over, and then the big fat minion that survived gets taken out by the crest. In that scenario, it's fine. That's why it's a 3.5 at best, because it's obviously meant to be played with Marwynn's Crest. But as we covered, Marwynn isn't even that good as he is, so unless Crest Haven is like secretly more OP than I think it is, this card will only ever be played in a sub-tier deck, if that makes sense. The next spell is going to be a Amulet, 4 mana, counts down 4, last words, deal 4 damage split between all enemies, and then restore 4 damage to your leader. The engage is dependent on, it's going to be advanced your Amulet count, and then by your crests, and then obviously however many crests you have is however fast it advances. This card is alright. It's a 4 mana deal 4, heal 4 for the most part. And since we're going to go ahead and assume that you always have crests, this is at worst usually going to be like a turn, like the next turn you pop it. So turn 4 you play this, you get your butt kicked because you didn't do anything else on that turn, which is pretty bad. The idea is that your butt being kicked ends up being a card advantage for you because this card should deal with everything on the board and heal you and heal back the HP loss that you took from being smacked in the face. So is that good enough? I don't think so. I think this card is another 3.5 out of 5 because it assumes your opponent has only like 4 HP on field, and only 4 damage on field. If there's any more than that, this card is actively like a detriment because you spent your entire early game turn to play this, which means that your opponent is going to get a guaranteed swing, which means that your opponent had to have had a bad turn 4, which is possible against stuff like Rune can play into this, Mode Abyss might play into this. Like there are certain crafts that might play into this, but if the meta doesn't change and it's still a tempo aggressive meta, this card just actively harms you. And of course, there's the argument like, oh, you're playing your don't attack minions. Well, you can only play this or Marwynn on one turn. So if this takes up your Marwynn turn, you're going to play Marwynn over this no matter what, right? So in turn 5, you play this, and then you engage it. And if you have Marwynn plus 2 crests, like you can't even pop this on the same turn you play it with Marwynn, so, or the turn after Marwynn. So it's like, what's the big deal? So at best, This is a 4 mana deal 4 to the most recently played minion and heal 4 if you have 4 crests. And at worst, it's a tempo loss that barely breaks even on card advantage and HP dealt for like no plan advancement. So yeah, again, constructed like 3 to 3.5 at best, and then take 2. There are so many more better take 2 cards at gold rarity. I think there's like a 2 out of 5 in take 2. Like you'd rather see any other gold card for Haven than this, for the most part, I think. The next card is going to be a 5 mana card called Congregant of Repose, a 2/4 fanfare. Select an enemy minion and destroy it, and when you evolve it, you get a crest, and the crest is that 4 turn countdown. At the end of your turn, if you didn't attack, you draw a follower with 4 defense. So this is going to be a 4/6 post evolve. You obviously destroy 1 enemy follower. This is again the same problem of where it's like, if you're evolving something, you're probably evolving it because you need to swing and clear something. So while the effect is very good, don't get me wrong, it's very good, the odds that your opponent has a singular card is almost 0 at that turn. Like maybe like Forest, like let's say Forest Glade, like you can use as counter Glade, sure. Against Forest, I mean, it's again not like Haven had a problem with Forest, you just play Ward Haven, you counter them. So it's like a good card against Forest if you're playing the worst Haven deck, right? But if it's like a flood deck like Abyss, for example, you need to swing. Sword, you need to swing. Against I guess against Rune, you don't need to swing because you just kill the Angrea and it'd be fine. Like Portal, you need to swing. There's like so many crafts that you need to swing with this that the Crest countdown won't even draw you a card until you like play Marwynn, or you play like a board clear spell, or like you play Amulet next turn. So like it's good when it's good, but the odds that it's good are like really low, which is a shame because now I'm looking at the card's really pretty. But I think this card is not that great. Like it constructed, again, good Haven, like a good Amulet Haven support or Crest Haven support. So it's like a 4 out of 5 or 3.5 out of 5. In take 2, I think it's a 4 out of 5 because it is, if you have enough 4 HP minions, you can argue that you want to keep your minions alive because Haven, if you draft Haven and take 2, you probably are not getting many Storm. If you get a lot of Storm cards, you won't be playing this, to be fair. So you have to like have the active brain cells to be realizing, okay, how many 4-drop or how many 4 HP minions do I have to play this card? If I have a lot of Storm, I'm not drafting this. If I have a lot of like passive ward cards, I might actually play this to draw my Wilbur, to draw my Aether, to draw all this other stuff. And in that case, it's really good to take 2 because you don't need to attack. With Haven, you're just like burning your opponent's resources over and over and over again until they lose. So I'll say it's like a 4 out of 5 and take 2, but it's still, the downside is pretty high because again, you are losing a swing to draw the card, which is like a pretty big deal. And the last card is going to be Himeka, 6 mana, 0/4, fanfare, gain her crest. When you super evolve, you set all of your enemy followers attacks to 4. Countdown on your crest is 4. At the start of your turn, if Himeka is on your board, you are going to basically attack lock all enemies that have 4 or less attack, and then give them the debuff at the end of your turn, banish the card. So this is essentially a stall card. When you play this, you board lock your opponent, and they literally can't, like, unless it's a portal destruction or destruction portal deck, they are board locked. Like, everything they summon is just there to clutter the board. So Himeka is like the premier stall card. I think this is a 5 out of 5 just because the effect is so good for a lot of Ward Haven shenanigans. Because like if you super evo Himeka, you don't even need super evo Himeka. You just play Himeka if your opponent has like no 5 attack minions, right? So you play her. That means that if they have a full board, quite rare, but if they have a full board, they cannot do anything. If you play Himeka, like just as is, they have to super evo something to clear Himeka. And if they're a board flood deck like Abyss or Sword, they can't get full value. They have to like use a one big body minion to kill your Himeka, and then you technically have tempo advantage because you will naturally super evo your next card and clear that minion, and then they have to repopulate their board afterwards. So Himeka is a card that's like really good even without the super evo. But if they have really big minions and you have to super evo, then it's also totally fine because yeah, she just totally cleared everything. So she's really good with she's essentially like another version of Cup, except it's a version of Cup where your opponent has to burn an evo to deal with it, or else they just cannot play cards like over and over again, right? So it's a version of Cup that doesn't kill your own board and forces your opponent to Evo. And Cup's already really strong for most Haven variants. So in Take 2, I think she's fine at 5 because she really like shatters backs when she's played, because she, again, super efficient board wipe. Your opponent has to have a 7 mana thingy that kills her, or a target spell that kills her. And if they don't, they just slowly lose the game. Kind of like yours in that example. So yeah. Himeka, I think, is going to be... I feel like she should be played in every Haven deck, period. Except for maybe Stormhaven. But even Stormhaven might benefit from the stall that she gives. So I'll tentatively give her a 5 out of 5 with the caveat that she's a 5 out of 5 because she's in Haven. And any other crafts, she might be a bit lower. And yeah, that's going to be it for the Wardhaven decks. I'm going to go over, if you're going chronologically, it'll be the Portal deck next. But if you want to watch any other crafts, they'll be down there below. Maybe a playlist will be there. So yeah, see you guys in the next one.